Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I have some things to share this week that I want you guys to know. Typically, in a week for me, whatever comes up in that week, it could be through an interaction with one of you guys or an interaction with someone that I'm getting help with something on, or it could be something that happens between me and Richard, or any which way, any interactions that you have in your week. Those are the moments of expansion, and those are the moments that I tune into, especially if there's like whatever the conversation is, if it's something that I don't know the answer to and I need to go dig deeper for. I know that that's probably going to be the lesson or the thing that comes through for the week. And for me, I've gotten to this place of trusting it so deeply, and I feel into exactly what is, because again, we are each just tuning into the frequencies of energies that need to be expressed in this moment, right? So I never usually have a schedule of what I'm planning to do next. It just kind of flows with the way the energy's moving. And this week, what came up for me with a few people is this energy around expansion. And by that I mean expanding who you think you are into who you came here to be. And a lot of the conversations that I had with people were around the fear state of, or even that's the lowest vibration of it, but it doesn't only have to live in that fear state. It could even be in the unknown, the trepidations of the unknown. So I tuned into my higher self, and I wrote down some notes. So before I expand on it, I'm going to give you the straight download and then we can go deeper into it. So the way for expansion, this is the first part, is you have to find your center. And this whole journey needs to start at the center of your creation. You have to allow yourself to go to the place of knowing nothing, to be able to be rebuilt with the soul's guidance into your real light. So for me, I mean, if I look back at my life over the last 2 years, I had to really let go of all of the conditioning. That's a term a lot of people use, but the conditioning is essentially all the things that your mind is bogged down by for what is right, what is wrong, what is black, what is white, what is up, what is down. All of those things are conditioning that have helped you to navigate to who you are at this set point. But to find expansion beyond what is in this three-dimensional reality, you have to be willing to go deeper than that, because you will not find expansion through the mind space. So then the next part was the problem begins with the mind. The mind strives to get to the bottom of everything before it really is ready to comprehend what's happening. So when you're on this path of awakening, when you're in the early stages, you're constantly looking for validations, and you're looking for signs that, like, what does this mean? Explanations, that's the word I'm looking for. You want to know, and you want someone to tell you, what does this mean? Why is this happening? Why am I seeing this? Why am I feeling this? And that's because your mind has been conditioned to look outward for answers, right? Like we read, we Google, we do all the things outside of ourselves because that is how we have been conditioned to be. But this state of awakening and into expansion is a whole new state of being that cannot be birthed through the mind. And the mind has no jurisdiction in the land of cosmic connection. So this is what I want to, why this has come up and why I think it's important that we talk about it, is that when that monkey mind turns on and is desperate for validation or the understanding of what's happening, those moments are the times to shut everything else out because it's literally your higher self trying to really communicate with you internally. And instead of like frantically struggling to find what does it mean in the outside world. They're trying to say, like, go inward, go to the point of center space where this dimension doesn't exist anymore. We are in this predicament of the three-dimensional reality for a reason, for sure. But to expand into, let's say, four dimension or fifth dimension, you have to be able to, I guess, kind of like shed the skin of how did you learn and how were you brought up in this third dimension. You have to be able to understand that to go higher, you're not going to learn it the same way that you learned in this dimension. So it's really about letting that go and letting the mind like almost having a negotiation with the mind and understanding that, yes, the mind is here as a tool to help us navigate in our predicament of 3D. And it's definitely a great tool. It helps us navigate life. But in the world of finding the connection inside, it really has no jurisdiction. It's not the place, it's not the tool that will get you there. It's actually the tool that keeps you from who you really are. And I know that sounds kind of strange because you are a lot of people believe you are your mind, but that's not the truth. It's just been a tool that helped you learn the rules and the conditioning to help you survive and stay alive and thrive in a reality that you were put into in this birthing of this incarnation. Now, all of that would be fine if that's what you were here to do and you were here to just live in the 3D reality and you weren't here to expand and ascend. You would stay in your mind space. But my guess is that you're here and you're questioning these things because the mind isn't enough. It's not showing you why you're here. And I mean, I've gone through this whole process myself, and I would say I think it's an everlasting process. I don't think that it ever changes. I don't think that you ever just conquer the mind and then it's done. There's a song that I listened to that is basically, he says that he learned to befriend his ego and they became partners. And that rang so true for me, and I understand what that means because you use tools to help you in certain moments, but they are not you. So basically, to find expansion, you have to let go of everything you know. Now, I've had conversations with Richard about this myself, and that where he'll be like, from the science perspective of, well, this doesn't make sense. What you're saying, you can't prove. And I finally said to him, isn't that where creation is? The things that you can't prove, the things that you're opening yourself up beyond provability, you're opening yourself up to discover. Yeah, we're not here to prove anything. I'm not here to prove anything. I'm here to literally expand every day into creativity, and creativity in whatever way that it is meant to come through this vessel, which will most likely be, because when you're in creative flow, it will be something that doesn't already exist, right? It's something that you're birthing into this reality, which if you, let's say you're a painter and you only follow the lines of drawing and of color and color theory, how you were taught in, let's say, school, then you are not an artist. An artist takes the tools and then throws them out and becomes one with the medium. And I feel like in Ascension, that is what we're asking, or that's what they are asking is, yes, these are all tools and they've gotten you to so far in your life, but that's just the constructs. Can you let that go now in order to find out what is real? What is your gift? What is your purpose for being here? What is your creative gift to this life? And I have, gone it almost feels like death and rebirth over and over. And it, for me, literally comes up probably every month or so. I swear there's a new hurdle that I break through, but it's only in the letting go of what my mind thinks of what that is that I can let go. Now, this can be scary, and it will feel like you're losing yourself in the process, because in this 3D reality, you have to let go of what the the version of you that has been created to navigate this 3D reality has to go away. And for a lot of people, the struggle of coming out of the closet as spiritual is a thing. Like, that's a thing, because it's saying, like, I'm following myself now. I'm not following society. I'm not following what the masses tell me to follow anymore. Now, that is, when you get to that step, I would say, is like the first breakthrough moment, because for me, it really was probably doing and starting this podcast. I knew I had to put it all out there. Not that my whole family is listening to this podcast, but when we think about who do I really care and who's going to judge me, God, it really is getting to this place of not caring, because you know that their way isn't for you. And it doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means it's not for you. And the first step of getting to the place where you can really let go of what other people's ideas and hopes for you are, to start feeling into what you actually are, and then expressing it. Because I think one of the biggest hurdles about expansion is that if you, let's say, I'm this way and this is my being, but I'm not ready yet to share that. Well, that's energy that isn't expressing through you. It's energy that then gets stuck in you. And what does that feel like? It can turn into anxiety. It can turn into depression. It can turn into worry. It can turn into an obsessive mind that wants to get to the bottom of things. It lives and stays inside of the body because it doesn't have an outlet. So I would say, even if you aren't able to not yet ready to step out into your light, then you have to express it in some way. And that can be through dance. It can be through painting. It can be through singing. It has to come out of you in some way, in that unique way that you're here to create. So why does this all happen? It's literally the metamorphosis. You have to take that first trust in the cosmos, in the universe, of that you can leap off of that, let's say, branch, and that your wings will carry you. And just like a butterfly, it doesn't know that it can fly until it does it. And I think that source, spirit, your higher self is waiting for that step, waiting for the moment that you say, okay, I'm going to throw it all to the wind and just, believe in myself, because that's really all that we have, is our own vessel and our own self, that I will be caught. No matter if I have to dip down in the current before I really catch wind and take off, that doesn't matter. It's the intent behind knowing that you are the vessel that is here to be in the wind and fly freely, that then Source says, okay, she's ready. She's ready to fly. Now, what does this mean? It all means that then part of you dies. Think about in this metamorphosis, the caterpillar has to die in order for the butterfly to become alive. And do I mourn the person that I was? There are times that I think, wow, before my awakening, I was a totally different person. Would life have been simpler? Actually, I have thought about that. I don't think it would have been simpler, because I would have gotten more depressed, because I knew that I needed to wake up. I had this pressure of letting go of the depression that I was in. And so for me personally, I don't think that my life would be better if I didn't wake up. But there are people that have said, once you go down that path, you can't go backwards. So then it's like, you don't have a choice. You got to keep going forward. And, sometimes ignorance is bliss. And so when I look at people that aren't awake, sometimes I think, wow, that's amazing that they can go out and have a good time, go out and drink and whatever. And it seems, from the outside perspective, it seems like so light and easy, and there's no care to it, right? But I know I've never been that person. I've never been able to fully have, I guess, assimilate into the things that are considered normal of this dimension. And I would assume if you're listening to me, you probably feel the same way. And there's a reason for that. So it's just allowing the rest of that conditioning to shed away so that that real you can come through. So then the next thing that I got the download of, yes, it can be scary, and you may feel like you're losing yourself in it, because in this 3D reality, you do. When we expand, we are breaking through the gates that surround our beings and our hearts, and into the unknown we go. And that can feel overwhelming at times and terrifying. But understand this, it would not be happening if you were not ready. And I would say that in every aspect, and even the conversations I had this week, some of them were really intense for the people that are going through this right now. And all of that is to say, like, you wouldn't be going through it if you weren't meant to. Everything is exactly the way that it is supposed to be. And can you get out of the mind space to let it in, and to let your heart be the leader, and let your body and your emotions and feeling into everything? So the next thing that comes up for you, whether it be, what is my spirit animal, or which direction should I put my spirit animal in, or all of these little things that we've been working on, it's an inward journey. It is something that you will not find outside of your body. Now, even I would say in terms of dreams, like a lot of times dream premonitions come through and we want to search, and what does this mean? But again, it is different, and the message is different for each person. And I believe that we have to learn how to go inward to find that space of clarity. And for me, like, a lot of the time it just pops out of nowhere, and it will be something that I don't even realize that I'm searching for. But remember, every single person that comes through your path in a week, let's say, they're all messengers. They're all reflections of what you're going through. It may be in a different part of the journey, but it's still a reflection. It's still, there's a nugget there for you to learn from as well. And when we look at everyone on this path in that light, and you can have then compassion and love for everyone exactly where they are, it gives you this kind of heart-opening expansion as well, of allowing yourself compassion as you go through it, right? And even if you're not at the exact place that this other person is, it's all perfect. That person is in your life to show you this is what could happen down the road, right? It's all exactly aligned, and people don't come into your life by chance. I had a session yesterday where the person told me she had been studying, or has been studying, shamanism for years. And she said that when she found my podcast, she found that I was taking concepts that she knew about, but kind of putting them into a simpler way of understanding it. And it was that first time, I think, and maybe people have said this to me in the past, but because she already knows shamanism, she studied, and we met through the works that we did with Puma Freddy Singona. But her reflection to say that I have a way of simplifying those teachings, first of all, it made me realize, well, I'm doing what I'm here to do. I'm a projector. I'm here to take in, digest it, and put it out into a way that people understand. So that was like, made me feel like, okay, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. But also it was being seen in a way that I can't see myself, right? So when other people reflect to you things that they can see in you that you maybe not yet ready to see, take that as a message. Take it as a piece of love from the universe and from source, because they are on your path to show you that part of yourself that you can't see inside. Remember, sometimes we need the facet of light out external to shine it inside, to realize it inside. But ultimately, all of these things are for you to go inward, right? And to really experience yourself, because again, for each person, this is all going to be different. Now, this past week I went to the Rise Festival in Las Vegas, which I had gone to 2 years ago. So it would have been 2019. And it was the right at the time of my awakening. Like I think that week started shamanism, and I mean, the world was like kind of like blown up for me in a big way, and I didn't know where it was leading, but I was so optimistic and so excited about it, and so naive too, in a good way, like such a good childish place. I felt I can look back and see myself in. And I recreated the moment of the picture of that festival 2 years ago, because it ended up being the artwork or the picture that I used for the artwork for this podcast. And the reason is because in these lanterns, at the Rise Festival, you send up these lanterns into the night sky with a flame in the lantern. And that first ceremony that I did back 2 years ago, I wrote down all of the things that I wanted to release in that lantern as like a ceremony of shedding the things that were holding me back from finding that center space to being open to expansion. And I remember releasing that night. I remember feeling like this is all coming about so that I could have a symbolic way of acknowledging the things that I wanted to let go of that were holding me stagnant, and that I needed to break through in order to find compassion and expansion in myself. So now fast forward 2 years, because I didn't have it last year because of COVID. So then this year, as I sat down to write out, what am I going to write this time? It wasn't about release at all. It was about being thankful for where I'm at right now. And I think I wrote down, let it in. And then I put comma all the way because I'm at a place now in my journey that I just have to receive. I have to open up my heart to receive. And I would say that is where I'm at right now with my journey is, can I let go of control, which this was reflected to me this week as well. Can I let go of the control of giving? Because in the give, I am still in controlling that thread, that energy exchange, to just be in the receptive place of receiving, which means I don't know what I'm receiving. I don't know what's next. I don't know what's coming my way, but can I just take that for whatever it is and absorb it into my heart so that I can expand? And it was shown to me that this is probably, around a lot around control, which I've known I have OCD, or I had in the past. I would say I don't have it anymore because I've really let go of those tendencies. But I definitely can see how I talk about being introverted, but here I am recording. Well, this recording, I'm in control. I'm in front of a microphone. I'm by myself. My animals are here, and I feel in control of this sharing environment, right? Now, a few weeks ago, I had people come to my home, and I opened up that space to allow other energies to come into me. And I was overwhelmed. I mean, to the point where I totally kind of shut down, and I didn't know what to do. I felt really awkward and really overwhelmed is the word that just keeps coming to me. And I know that it happened, and I know that I needed to experience that because I'm going through this place of, can I let go of the controlling parameters in which I'm sharing? Can I open up my heart wide enough to allow the things that scare me to death, which is energy, physical energy, and why it keeps repeating. So yeah, I know that's my next thing. I need to learn how to receive people exactly where they are, and also be able to take what I need from that as well. Like whether if it's a triggering energy, whether if it's a loving energy, can I accept that love? All of it is expansion, but all of it is scaring me to death, right? But I know that's where I'm at right now, and that's my next thing. I've kind of feel like I've I've checked this box off of being isolated and sharing out and controlling the share, right? The energy tribe also is part of that. And I talked a lot about when I welcomed that into my life, it was like a full blown, I don't know where I'm going from here because I've never experienced this before. And now that it's been a few months, I know that each person's energy is a piece of the puzzle of me. When I get reflections from people that say, I'm so happy that you helped me to see this in myself, right? My immediate response is, it wasn't me. It was a reflection of me lighting it up in you. You did the work. Because I know, just like anyone else, any of the teachers that we all have or that we listen to, they are not a teacher. They are just lighting up a memory inside of you for that expansion to happen inside of you. So if that person gives you that reflection and then you act on that reflection, that is it. That is the expansion. That person triggered a vibration that reminded you of what you have already inside of you. And that's what ascension is. That is how we learn from each other. And I have learned so many lessons from everybody in the tribe that it's expanding me beyond my nice box I had placed around myself of I'm introverted. Now, next step, like I said, is allowing that energy in person, which, I've even, some of the people that I went to Costa Rica with happen to live in my location. And I have tuned into why. Like, why are these people in my now everyday existence? And the message I got is, you're here to help them, but they're also here to help you. And I can see that. I can see how when I have friends in San Diego that are not on this path, right? And that I can, in a way, I kind of label them as, okay, I only share up to a certain point of who I am with this group of people. But then when you bring in energies that actually are on a path and are on a healing journey, I can't write them off anymore. I have to really tune into, okay, they're here. Why? Why is this a physical energy versus an energetic energy that is in the tribe, right? Like I'm able to receive the tribe energy so much better now because I feel adjusted to understanding it and feeling that frequency of it. In person, I get uncomfortable. I'm very awkward. I don't know how to handle it. But this is a lesson that I need for my next level of expansion. So when I looked at, or in that moment, when I compared the two Rise festivals and I look back at myself and I see where I was to where I have become in a short period, 2 years is nothing. I feel like I died back then. That person doesn't exist anymore, and nor should it. We should be growing and we should be changing and we should be evolving. But when I look back at her, I just feel like she was just like a newborn baby, and I have so much love for that place, and I have so much love for everything that I've experienced since then. And know, like, okay, this is only 2 years into this, like, where do you go from there, and it's so expansive and so unknown. And I find that is the most beautiful part of this whole thing. A spiritual awakening never ends. You just keep going deeper and deeper into the different facets of your soul, which is endless. And I just want you guys to know that it's never going to happen in the mind space. If you find that you are searching out others to give you readings, which I do as well, so I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, you have to have discernment of why, because sometimes if you're going into it with an energy of wanting to understand something about yourself, what will be reflected is actually more questions, and it may not be as clear as you think, or you may doubt what the messages are. And that's because Spirit is saying you don't need it. You don't need that outside reflection right now. Go in. And this is actually something that has also come up for me, is I can't keep looking outward when I need to go inward. And that's why I think the messages came up this week, is that finding that trust and honoring that trust, even if you don't know the answers yet, it means that you're not ready to. And that's perfect. Timing is something that is an illusion, but that illusion, I think, in this reality makes it hard, because part of our soul is like, hurry up, because I know where I'm going. I have an idea. I have a feeling of where I'm evolving to. And because time isn't real, we want it to happen like that. But then we look back at, this is where we are. We're in a land that is three-dimensional and has linear time, which means we just have to meet it in the present moment. Try not to live in the future of where you think you're headed, but every moment that you meet presently is a moment for growth and also compassion, because again, my lessons and my shadows still come up to this moment. And what I find is that it's mostly happening around people, because that's where my work is. I need to learn how to be this person in front of people. And I have to stop relying or saying, I'm sensitive and therefore I'm picking up on all this stuff and it's overwhelming, and then I get short with people, or I can't contain this energy. I think it's truth, and I'm not saying that it's not true, but I have to now learn how to navigate that around people. And, that's what I'm working on. And that's why I believe that this is a never-ending process. We are always evolving, always going back to that center space of I know nothing. Because in this moment, I feel like I know nothing. I know nothing, because I now have to take this cocoon of me and let it be in public, in public in the sense of not pushing people away from me, but allowing them to come closer to me physically. And oh God, I'll keep you updated on how it goes, but I'm terrified. So that means I know nothing. I am back to the baby state, and I'm going to actually, hopefully in 2 years be able to look back at this moment in time and say, God, she was such a baby and she was just breaking through on this journey, because I think, yeah, that's what this is. And it's honoring yourself in every step of it, because it's so beautiful. The process of this awakening is just so expansive, and there's so many nuances along the way that when you look back, and even if you think like, oh, I was frustrated, or, oh, I didn't understand myself then, in hindsight, you can then look at yourself as like compassionately and kind of in a way like wish that you could go back and be more present to what was actually happening, instead of trying to get out of there and Google and, ask questions and all of that. So I hope that this is helpful. For me, it's been a helpful lesson this week, and I appreciate every single reflection that I've gotten this week, because like I said, when a message comes through, it doesn't usually come through with just one conversation. It's repeated in different ways. And it's like, for me, I feel like, okay, here's the thread. Now let's get the thread out. And I can see what, like I was telling you, how someone reflected to me. I'm able to pull these threads and say like, okay, here's the rose of this. Here's the essence of this. And I hope that you guys are able to smell this rose and hope to believe in yourself, that you all also are blooming. And it's the best time of your life to be in this state, because you are literally learning everything from a fresh space. And just allow yourself the patience of what this is. Thank you guys, as always, for always being here and listening and sharing this space with me. It means really more to me than anything else in my life. And if I didn't have this place to reflect all of this, I think it would be like what I was talking about, stuck energy, that then I don't know where it would be, but I wouldn't be able to evolve on my journey if I didn't have this outlet. So I just want you guys to know how precious this is to me, and to have the reflections back from you. It's helping me grow even deeper into who I am becoming. So I really, really thank you very much. I would love to have you join us on the Energy Tribe chats, which are being held now every other Monday. The next one is October 11th, and it starts at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I want you to know it's a free space, it's a lovely space. The energy from everyone there is amazing, and we would love to have you.